Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the AMX-13 F3 AM, the Tier 6 French SPG. It's on the east spawn of Airfield under the command of Angelina75. Now this was the replay from the week before last, mainly because I didn't have a PC I could record this one on, unfortunately, and neither did Talon and Angelina for that matter. That's why this one didn't get recorded. You notice Angelina's using the AMX-13 F3. I made a suggestion that she should change which Arty she's using to see if she can get better results. And this Arty is actually quite effective. Okay, scrolling out. Much easier if you just hold down the control key on the left hand side of the panel and then click with the, put the mouse over the mini-map and click on that right click and it'll take you there straight away. She's tracking a box tank who's hidden behind the rock for the moment because he knows he's been spotted. She might be able to get the pocket, but instead she's trying to get this T3485M. She's dialing in as fast as she can, but the AMX-13 F3 doesn't dial in very quickly. Oh, but what a shot! She takes him out with a direct hit to his turret and a penetrating shot. Now that round generated 212 hit points of damage. I'm pretty sure that the shell went right through his turret though. He definitely felt that one. Okay, well, she's put another round near the box tank. Now, as many of you know, the AMX-13 F3 was actually built to replace the Second World War hand-me-downs that France received. They built the AMX-13 F3 based on the AMX 13-ton tank. They built 621 of them, and it replaced the M41 HMC Guerrilla. It's quite a good Arty. It was actually sold to quite a few nations, including Argentina, Cyprus, Ecuador, Kuwait, Morocco, Qatar, UAE, Sudan, Chile, Peru, Venezuela, and of course France. And I think a lot of them are still in operation. There's a few that are being used as monuments. But it is actually quite an effective Arty, and the main reason why it's effective is simply because it's very light. It's not heavy at all, this Arty, so it can be air mobile. It can be flown by an aircraft anywhere that the owners need it to go. It's only about 18.5 tons, including fully loaded. That's with all the shells and also with the fuel. A near miss for the TOG. She did get a bit of rescue blip there. I think there was something to do with either a movement or when she pressed the key, it caused the rescue to shake momentarily, and I think that's the reason why the shell didn't hit the TOG. But if it hit the TOG full on, I suspect it would have badly damaged him. Rounds out. Well, that was to try and wake up the enemy Arty, which I think is in that corner. The enemy Arty is a Crusade SP and an M44. She's moved to a new position. Now this Arty will do 630 alpha and penetrate 39mm of armor. You can see that Angelina's chosen nothing but HE. She wants to get stunned, and she's got a blast radius of 7.6 meters, and stun duration of between 11 and 22, and that was a good shot on the TOG this time. He leant over the edge, and this time round he took the round bang on, and it looks like she picked up some stun assist there when he was taken out. Now, surprisingly, the arc for this Arty is 35 degrees. It's not very wide. It's 15 degrees one side and 20 degrees on the other. And I'm afraid it's the way that the artillery gun was mounted, the howitzer. It's asymmetrical. It's not completely symmetrical. But, yeah, you can probably see that from the drawing, actually. It's slightly off to one side. Rounds out the Challenger. Oh, penetrating shot. She gets the kill. She set light to him. She burnt him to death. Lovely shot. That's 2 kills now to Angelina. She's racking up the damage. I suspect that you could actually get hold of an AMX 13 F3 if you tried hard enough. Oh, and another kill. She got the Jackson this time for 71. That's all he had left. Yes, there are still plenty around the world, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could actually get hold of one. And of course, refurbish it using the getting a new engine, because they still actually have engines for sale. One member of the group actually owns a French Arty, and he was actually able to get a replacement engine for it. Of course, his is the AMX 13105 AM, which is a slightly later model. There's the M44, and he's now one of 2 enemies left. Okay, she's halfway through the load. I'm not sure if she's going to get another chance to shoot at this guy, but she'll have a go if she can. Almost loaded. Rounds out. He was on that corner. If he's still there. Well, she stunned him, and she's getting stun assist. And I think he's about to die. Yes, he does. And that means now the Hellcat is the last enemy tank alive. He's in the corner and taken out of the game by the T-78. So this one is a victory. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second class tanker for Angelina75 in the AMX 13 F3 AM. She managed to get a arsonist, because yes, she set alight one of the enemy vehicles, the Challenger, and he burned to death after she did get a penetrating shot on him. And you can see actually she penned him 766. So not only did she get the actual high roll, but she also managed to get a fire afterwards, and that gave her an extra kill. She also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, she managed to get, it says 4, but obviously you need to get 5 critical hits to get one, but she still got a bruiser anyway. Let's have a look at these other ones. I'm pretty sure that some of them, she actually just wounded them. Yep, so it was just splashes on the others. Let's have a look at team score. Well, Angelina didn't get the highest damage in this one, because that went to the Super Hellcat with 1,872, but he didn't get enough to get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. The second highest damage went to the Challenger that she killed. He got 1,844 by sitting at the back and plinking at our guys as they came into view. And the third highest damage went to the E25 on the enemy team, 1,617. When it came to Angelina, she got 1,411, so she wasn't slouching at all, but there were 3 members of her own team above her in damage, and 2 members of the enemy team, which actually puts her in 6th place overall. But when it came to kills, the T-78 came out on top. He got a Pascucci's medal for killing both enemy Arty. He got 4 kills. 3 kills went to Angelina and the E25, so they both shared 2nd place. And 3rd place went to the GW Panther on Angelina's team and the other E25 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's the T-78 who did the best with 1,003. 908 went to the VK3002M, and 828 went to the Super Hellcat. Angelina was down in 5th place on XP with 778. She fired 9 rounds, got 3 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetration, the Challenger. 9 splash as well, damage of 1,411 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. She damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 3. That's why she didn't get a Confederate, because she was actually killing tanks rather than stunning them or wounding them. 428 hit points of stun assists off 7 stuns. That's not bad. It's not a huge amount, but it's not bad. I think the reason why is that the rest of her team were actually very efficient at getting at the enemy tanks once they've been immobilized. 35,444 credits from the game, 50,000 for completing a mission, 85,444 altogether, and she actually didn't have to replace ammunition, so that's what she took away. 1,167 XP times 2 for the first victory, took away 2,334 experience points altogether. She called this one Burn Baby Burn. Well, that was after the Challenger. After she set him alight, he nicely went up in a ball of flames afterwards, very shortly afterwards, because yes, the shell landed right onto the engine bay and yeah, broke the fuel tanks, and up he went like a candle. So very, very nice indeed for Angelina. I suppose you could say that this particular week she was winning the game up at that point because she was the first one to send in a replay on the 11th of July, and she had a win rate of 2,577, which is reasonable. Good, it's Unicum level, but we'll just have to wait and see how Talon gets on because his replay is up next. The second replay is on the Arctic Region map, otherwise known as Mannerheim Line, and Talon is in the Hummel. Game on. Now, as you know, Talon likes to use the Hummel with the stock gun, and with good reason. It actually has a higher fire rate than the standard Hummel, and it also has a much better trajectory when aiming at the enemy. Has a shorter range, yep, that has to be taken into account, but you can actually get more accurate shots on the enemy, and the shell goes higher, which means you get a better gun arc, and that means you can hit enemy tanks fairly accurately, and the shell comes down on top of them from above. Now this T-67 is going to find that out the hard way. Yep, he gets hit for 183 from Talon's first shot. He was lucky that he only got hit for 183. If Talon managed to get that shell directly into the cockpit of that T-67, it would have been the end of his tank, his game altogether. And the second shot hits the VK. He picks up 192 for the shot, but he gets all the stun assist afterwards because the VK was taken out by his teammates. So again, proving that the fast fire rate and of course the stun can actually have a big effect on the enemy. Now they built 703 Hummels and 157 Waffenträgers, well, not Waffenträger, I think it's a Munitionsträger, that's it. Munitionsträger, which was the same vehicle, but with no howitzer, and that was used to carry the ammunition, the 15cm howitzer rounds, and of course all the powder that was actually in those little cans that they would put into the breech after the shell. It had two-part ammunition, and the actual shells would be these huge monstrous things which would slide up the breech, and somebody's trying to counter battery him here, missed. But the actual powder that propels the artillery shell is in tiny little silk bags, and each bag carries a specific amount of powder, and so if you wanted the shell to go a certain distance, and of course artillery shells, you have to be very accurate and calculate exactly where you want the shell to go. So you have to put the right amount of powder in to have the right trajectory, and if you get it right, you can shoot a long range. So adjusting the amount of powder that goes into the breech will have the desired effect and lob the shell at the enemy. And so they would actually count out a certain number of silk bags to go into this can, which they put into the breech after the shell. It's basically a very similar situation with the M777 at the moment, except the M777 uses these bricks of plastic explosive, and they are actually put in, a certain number of them are put into the breech, and they put a little firing cap in this, a number of firing caps all together, all lovely direct hit there on the Panzer IV Ausführung H. And of course they put a certain number of the bricks of plastic explosive in, and then they set these plastic explosives off with these little cartridges, these blasting cartridges, and then they fire the shell at the enemy. So I saw today that apparently, well, I did know that the M777s actually have like a magazine. It's like a strip of these blasting shells together, so they don't actually have to put a fresh cap into the howitzer every time another direct hit. What they actually have to do that in the M109 and the other big huge SPGs that are in use, the Paladin and the like, they had to actually put a fresh cap in each time. But in the M777s, they have a magazine strip, like a pistol, and that contains all the firing caps that they need. So there's only 4 enemies left, and they're all over the other side of the battlefield. So he's going to have to move now if he wants to get more damage at the enemy. The Hummel, originally designed in 1942, didn't get built until 1943. It's based on the Panzer IV or Panzer IV. It has some bits of Panzer III in it, but mostly the parts that are easy to make. The running gear. He's dialing in on the strip, fires the round off. Oh, well, he stunned him. He did stun him. Okay, I think that M41 is within range. Now, you can hit that guy. He's just got to place the shell in the right spot. He's almost loaded. He's marked the target. Rounds out. Long flight time. Oh! And the kill goes to the AMX ELC, who rolled up behind the M41, waiting for him to back up. He backed up right into a shell. There's only one enemy left now. It's the T-78. The Panzer IV Hydrostat has got him by the hairy ones, I would say. And that's it. The game's over. That was a fast and furious one. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second-class tanker for talon1958 in the Hummel. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 6. And, of course, he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. He didn't get any kills, but he certainly did get a medal. His win rate was 1,211. Not quite as high as Angelina's, but the thing is, he actually beats Angelina with this replay because he not only got a second class, he got a medal to go with it, a Confederate, and Angelina, I'm afraid, sadly, did not. So, yes, even with a higher win rate, Talon beats her with this replay. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in this game. That went to the KV1 on his team, who got a high caliber out of 2,394 hit points. The second highest damage went to the Fifi on his team. He got 1,130 hit points of damage. And the third highest damage in the game went to the T-78, the last enemy alive. He got 943. And the fourth highest was the M10 RPFM. He's a little way down the clock, yes. In 5th place was Talon with 893 hit points of damage. So, yeah, 5th place on damage, but it's still a good score nonetheless. When it came to kills, it actually helped that he had no kills because that gave him the chance to get the Confederate. If he'd actually had a kill, I think he probably wouldn't have got it. The highest number of kills actually went to the KV1 and the Achilles. Both got 3 apiece. 2 kills went to the Panzer IV Hydrostat, the AMX ELC Biz, and the Skoda T24. That's ELC actually stole one of the kills away from Talon, but I think he'll forgive him because he actually got a medal because he didn't hit the ELC at the moment he got killed. And when it came to base XP, it's the KV1 first with 1,177, so a good performance by him. 728 went to the Achilles, and 635 went to Talon. He fired 10 rounds in that game, got 3 direct hits on the enemy, and no penetrations, but 8 splash. Damage of 893 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 6 of the enemy, didn't get any kills, and that actually meant that he was on a tenderhook. If he'd actually got 1 kill, he would have missed out the Confederate completely. 856 hit points of stun assist off 8 stuns. He earned 35,070 credits from the game, and after ammunition resupply, took away 30,020 credits. 952 XP times 2 for the first victory, 1,905 experience points altogether. So even though it was actually, in many ways, you might say, a worse replay than Angelina's, it was better for Talon because he actually won the competition that week with a second class and a Confederate, whilst Angelina could only pass a second class, and that was that. No medal. So, yes, I think Talon enjoyed the weekend lie-in. That was the week before last. whereas Angelina had to get up and look after Remy. But I've got good news for you, because although that's the end of this video, I've got another one following this one immediately, and I'll try and put them out as quickly as I can so you can catch up on what they've been up to. And that one will follow this week's competition and the replays that Angelina and Talon have sent in. And they did send in a couple of interesting ones. So do stick around on the channel and you'll see those ones come up shortly. Thanks for watching.